Oh, it hurt like hell. It really bloody hurt. You know, I've got a great tolerance to pain. I didn't yell out or anything, but it bloody well hurt. Oh. And Kevin Taylor's got the ear like that, and he's gone. I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm trying to be gentle, mate. I said, you're an idiot. I said, you don't hack someone's ears off gently. I said, you hack through them, like that. And put some muscle into it, right?
Hello again now, people. What's good? It's me, it's Ted. It's another episode from Run Ted Talks. Now, first of all, thank you very much for clicking on the video. And secondly, thank you very much to all the new subscribers that have come through since the start of the channel. There's been loads of you, and absolutely blows me away every time I see it. We're over 1,000 now. So yeah, thank you very much to all of you. If you've not subscribed already though, please hit that button, hit the like button, hit the share button, and leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of the video. So this one is Chopper Read, his final interview, 60 minutes. It's part 2. So if you've not seen the first part, go back and watch that one, then come back to this one. It's very interesting. So I've been reacting to a few things from Chopper Read, and you know, I'm starting to make up my own mind about, you know, kind of whether he's legit, whether he's the things he's claims to have done are all legit, and you know, let's see if this video backs up my theory even more. Okay, so let's go.
In the eyes of the courts, Chopper was a violent criminal. For many admirers, he was much more than that. Larrikin, showman, comedian. And he loved playing to the crowd, by his own admission, embellishing his crimes as part of the Chopper Roadshow. But tonight, he insists he's
Yeah, see, that's my point. I mean, he said in the past that, you know, he's quite liberal with the truth. So who knows what he's done.
telling the truth to set the record straight. You're about to hear the details of 2 more murders he committed, but for which he was never convicted. As always with Chopper, the language and the subject matter are explicit.
How do you think the other prisoners would see you?
They hate my guts. I'm as popular as a pork chop in a synagogue.
There has never been a crim quite like Chopper Read. Articulate, charismatic and funny, here was a man only too willing to shine a light on Australia after dark.
The criminal world is controlled by blood and guts. It always has been controlled by blood and guts. It always will be controlled by blood and guts.
It's hard to believe you spent something like 23 and a half years in places like this.
7.5 years in a place like this and 5 years down at Risdon Prison, Tasmania.
Bar a few months, this was Chopper's home from his late teens to middle age. Yeah, but you put a bed in here and there's not much room.
A bed and a plastic bucket for a toilet, a plastic bottle full of water and a roll of toilet paper. That's what you got. And
So it says from teens to middle age, so, you know, it depends what they class as middle age. You know, most people think 50 is middle age, but that's only if you live to 100. Most people don't live to 100. Most people live in 70, 80. So, yeah, possibly 35, 40. So, you know, it's at least 20 years of his life that he spent in that cell, maybe a little bit more. It's a long time with a bucket, not for me.
While Chopper was never convicted for murder, he did time for violent crimes, armed robbery, assaults, arson, kidnapping. And on the inside, he was just as violent. As leader of the notorious Overcoat Gang, he declared war on his rivals.
What would motivate you to get involved in that gang war?
Well, I just didn't like the faces of the people of the opposition. They when I arrived in B Division, they seemed to have everything under control. They were making all the home brews and getting all the dope in and organising everything and running around the place like kingpins. And so I thought I'd rectify the situation. And we had some homemade axes made up in the engineer's shop, and there was me and a couple of other friends. I made them wear overcoats, and we had axes up our sleeves, and we went around and dealt with the situation.
So you're not going to get me then, Keithy?
You're not worth doing any more time over here, Maggot.
Oh, Keithy, you get off on self-defence. All you got to do is kill me, present me psychiatric records to the court. There's not a jury in the land that will convict you.
The gang war was so extreme and Chopper so enigmatic, they made the movie Chopper. He in turn became an international cult hero. this part comedian,
Beethoven had his critics too, Keith. See if you can name 3 of them.
part monster.
The secret to winning a war is to love something your enemy doesn't like it. My enemy didn't even like being in jail. I loved it. My enemy didn't like being in Haste Division. I loved it. My enemy didn't like having to get up every Monday morning and watch for low-flying pocket knives and low-flying hammers and whether they're going to get attacked that day and who they'd have to attack that day to survive. I loved it, right?
Did you really love
Well, I loved the cut and thrust of all this sort of stuff going on in the jail.
But it's the cut and thrust he
You know, it's hard to see how somebody could love all of that, you know, waking up and watching your back. But I guess when people have been living that life for so long, it's normal to them. I guess they feel safe in that normality, as dangerous as it is.
inflicted upon himself that he will be forever remembered. Famously cutting off his ears to get out of maximum security. How much did it hurt?
Oh, it hurt like hell. It really bloody hurt. You know, I've got a great tolerance to pain. I didn't yell out or anything, but it bloody well hurt. Oh. And Kevin Taylor's got the ear like that and he's gone. I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm trying to be gentle, mate. I said, you're an idiot. I said, you don't hack someone's ears off gently. I said, you hack through them, like that. And put some muscle into it, right? And he's going, straight through, right? And he's going, He said, you're not going to bash me later, are you? I said, no, come in and do the other one. I'm going to look at an idiot with one ear, aren't I?
But behind Chopper's madness and murder,
So it's hard to understand how somebody can do that to themselves, but I guess people in extreme situations will do this kind of thing. There was a case in Nottingham many years ago. This is when I was a kid, and it was somebody who was, I think he was being deported out of the UK, and in protest he sewed up his eyelids. I don't know if he did it himself or he got someone else to do it, but he sewed up, he ended up with his eyelids sewed anyway, and yeah, they allowed him to stay because they said, well, you know, he must be desperate if he's going to go to that extreme. But then it opened up the floodgates, and we had all these prisoners with sewn up eyes. It was crazy.
Earth was always the menace. Inside Pentridge Prison, he was judge, jury, and executioner. And it was here Chopper Read says he committed his second murder in 1974. His victim was pedophile and child killer Reginald Isaacs.
Me and Mad Charlie walked into his cell. Charlie fell into the ground, and I've jumped up on his bunk and jumped on his head, from his bunk onto his head, from his bunk onto his head, from his bunk onto his head, right? And then I've gone from the bunk, I slipped down off the head and hit the chest. From the bunk on into the chest, bang, bang, and he wasn't dead, you know, but he was sort of, you know? And so I've taken his shoelaces off him, tied his hands behind his back, and then I've taken the sheets off him, wrapped the sheets around his neck, lifted him up with Mad Charlie, got the sheets around his neck, and I've tied the sheet up over the top railing of the obso gate, pushed him down, and I've gone out of the cell, and I've closed the cell door. There was no one that saw us. We were pretty quick in here. And anyway, at 7 o'clock that morning, they've opened his cell door. And
But why was it up to you to?
Well, it must have been up.
See, that could also be it. Given the crime that this guy committed in the first place, maybe people did turn a blind eye to how he was found and what had happened to him. It's very possible.
To me, because everyone in the remand yard shook hands with each other and said the first person that sees this bloke was obliged to kill him. And well, I happened to be the first person to see him, so it was up to me to kill him.
Love.
St Kilda, 1987, and in a rare stint out of jail, Chopper commits his third murder, shooting Siam Ozakam, also known as Sammy the Turk, outside Bojangles nightclub. Why did you come out with Sam the Turk?
Oh, because he told me he was going to sell me a handgun out here.
The seedy nightclub has long since gone. It's now a health spa. And Chopper says for the first time he is telling the truth of what happened here.
I said, where is it, mate? And he said, they'll be here in a minute, they'll be here in a minute. I said, who's they? He said, they'll be here in a minute. And I turned around and see nothing behind me. And so I thought, they'll be here in a minute, you treacherous bastard, you know? And I said, you brought me out here to kill me, didn't you? And so I shot him. As you do. I shot him. And down he went, and that was it.
Wait. Chopper, you got gun? Got gun, huh?
Until now, Chopper has always claimed the shooting was in self-defence, that Sammy the Turk was armed and part of a drug-dealing gang that wanted to get rid of Chopper, the standover man.
I was taking their money. I was driving the western suburbs crazy, you know. I was standing over bloody virtually half of them and taking their money. They didn't like it, you know.
But on the night he shot him, Sammy the Turk didn't pull a gun on Chopper. He was unarmed.
When I killed Sammy the Turk, that wasn't self-defence. That was outright fucking murder. Sorry, shouldn't be swearing, but that was outright murder. I told the armoury squad that night that it was self-defence. I said he grabbed the gun out of the front of me pants, and I grabbed the shotgun out and click, click, click here, and I'll go and bang through the head. And I thought to myself, if anyone believes this story, they got rocks in their head.
But the jury did believe Chopper, and he was acquitted.
Everyone.
So what were the gun laws at this point? So he was acquitted, so even if it's gone down in self-defence, how is he not being charged for having the firearm in the first place? You know, like, did they have licenses to be able to conceal? And Chopper, as an ex-prisoner, was he able to get one of these? Like, I don't know. Because without the license, I guess he would have been charged. So he must have had the license. But also, if he's gone outside to buy the gun, but he already had one, I don't know. It just doesn't seem to add up to much.
Followed it. I couldn't understand. And next thing you know, the jury would come back and said, not guilty. I didn't go, cheer, cheer. I just dumbfounded as the jury walked out. I'm still looking. Do they say not guilty? I couldn't believe it. Not guilty for that. Oh, God almighty. Thank God you can't be tried twice.
What you've just heard is Chopper Read admitting to his third murder, a confession he's never made before and one he's certainly never been convicted of. But the killing didn't end there, and that brings us to the cold case of Sydney Michael Collins, who's been officially missing since 2002. Here's a bikie boss who had his first run-in with Chopper 10 years earlier, when Chopper shot and wounded him. Still to come.
What more do you need? Bang, get a bit of that into you.
Killing in cold blood. Why did you murder him?
Because he was an absolute turd.
Chopper's last astonishing deathbed confession.
Bang.
What does it feel like to kill someone? The final chapter, next on 60 Minutes.
Right, so that's part 2 done. So yeah, what are we thinking? You know, a lot of people in the comments on the other ones have suggested that, you know, he's a bit of an actor, he talks a bit of bull. You know, he tries to over-dramatise his life and whatnot. You know, I'm sure there is elements of truth in there. You know, maybe he killed 1 or 2, but not all 4, I don't know. But yeah, things just don't seem to add up. And as I said, he said before in other interviews that, you know, he likes to pepper the truth a little bit. You know, so is this another one of these situations? Another question I've got as well is, I know he was dying at this point already. But if he's made these confessions on camera, was he picked up after and questioned? Was he charged with anything? You know, what was the outcome of that? Because even though you're dying, you can still be charged. I mean, I think even if somebody has passed away, if somebody's guilty of a crime and it can be proved, they can still be charged after death. So yeah, what went on with that? So right, I'm going to call that a video. So that's end of part 2. So make sure you hit subscribe and hit that bell for notifications for part 3, which will be coming up in the next week. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, like button, share, and leave me a comment. All that business there. So it's been me, Ted. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you all later.